How's it going, guys? I'm back with some more donuts and to answer a couple more questions. I know I've been on kind of a donut kick lately, but hey, what can I say? Donuts are pretty dang good. I'm gonna just hit a couple of questions first, and then I'll jump into the donut reviews, and then we'll just pig out. So first, I got a question from Trey Helson, and he's asked, what do you eat on a normal basis to maintain your weight? That's a great question. I really like to eat a ton of vegetables. Almost every day I have a gigantic salad with dark leafy greens and maybe something on top. So to maintain good health and good weight, you have to balance your nutrients along with your calories. So I love eating a ton of vegetables. Now I also work out a lot, so I do use a couple of supplements like amino acids, which are low in calories but help you recover from exercise. And of course, I don't just dogmatically follow any particular diet. I do eat the foods that I actually crave and feel like will give me the kind of nutrients that I want. So thanks, Trey, for the question, and thanks for watching. Next up, we have Pedro Nava asked, how frequently do you do challenges? Well, typically I'll do about one challenge every week. Now that's one big challenge. If I'm doing smaller challenges, then I might do them more often, and that's as frequently as I will do them. I find that if I do more than one challenge a week, then I tend to start to gain a little bit, and I start to just feel fluffy and sluggish and not very good. And he also asked, how do you avoid gaining weight from all of these challenges? And it's really a combination of making sure that when you're not doing these challenges, you're eating sensibly. I try to maintain a calorie deficit when I'm not doing these challenges, just so when I do a giant calorie challenge, then it offsets that calorie deficit instead of packing it on my midsection and a bunch of fat. I also go out of my way to make sure that I'm burning calories throughout the day by doing little things like going for walks. I do a ton of cardio exercise, I already mentioned that. And I do go out of my way to lift weights when I know I'm going to be in a calorie surplus, so those calories go towards building muscle instead of building fat. So some examples of the little things that I do throughout the day is like I work at a standing workstation, and I'll even go out of my way to make that even harder by wearing a weighted vest. So it adds a little bit extra weight, and it just increases my basal metabolic rate. So I am burning that extra little bit throughout the day. So those are some examples of the things that I do to maintain my weight. So thank you, Pedro, for that wonderful question. Next up, I have one from Stephen Verasamy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Maybe Verasamy, I don't know. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. And he asked, how long does it take to recover from a challenge? Now that's a great question. It's a really nuanced question, because the recovery time from a challenge really depends on, first of all, how big the challenge is, and second of all, what the contents of the challenge are. If it's like 3,000 or 4,000 calories, that's like a big Thanksgiving dinner. I might feel a little bit sluggish for the rest of the day, but the next day, probably won't even notice it. Now, the worst by far are the challenges that have a ton of salt, because that causes water retention and your joints are just inflamed and poofy. And it feels awful for days and days afterwards. So after those challenges, I'll often walk around with like a big jug of water and drink it as much as possible to try to flush it out of my system. And it will take as much as 3 or 4 days to get back to feeling relatively normal. So challenges that have a ton of protein in them, like big steak challenges or big burger challenges, those might take a day or two before I get back to feeling like I can really work out effectively. But the ones that have a ton of carbs and sugar or a ton of fat without salt added to it, I found that those your body can handle better than anything else. So then I might feel, okay to work out just the next day. So yeah, if I have a ton of protein or a ton of salt, then it takes way longer to recover from those challenges. So thank you guys for those questions. If you want me to answer any more questions in a future Q&A, feel free to send me a tweet on Twitter. There's a link to my Twitter in the description, or just leave a comment on this video below. So without further ado, I'm gonna get to some donuts. So there's this shop near my town called Frost. Woo. And they make the most beautiful donuts. And I don't mean that in a facetious way or anything. I mean they make donuts that are really nice to look at. And they are super delicious. And I did notice that a dozen donuts at Frost cost $25. And I can kind of see the draw of a place like Krispy Kreme where you can get a dozen donuts for, you know, $9. All right, so I'm gonna try some of these donuts, let you guys know what I think. I got a huge variety of some really delicious donuts here. I'm gonna try this. Look at all that's on top of this donut. That is amazing. So this is the chocolate banana ring. Topped with this chocolate frosting, some mini chocolate chips. This white stuff is actually a banana frosting. That is amazing. It has a really strong, authentic banana flavor. It has a couple of banana chips on top. Nice and crispy banana chips. Adds a really great texture to it. Man, and you know, chocolate and bananas, that's like a classic combination. You can't go wrong with that. I'm gonna give this guy a 7.5 out of 10. That is really delicious. And that is unlike any donut I've ever seen before. Now this is a classic Boston cream Bismarck, and you can see the artistry on top. I mean, it just looks so beautiful with those little white stripes. It's like a perfectly round Bismarck donut. This is what I'm talking about when I say they make beautiful donuts. You cannot deny that that is a visually attractive donut. All right, let's see if the taste is equal to the visuals. I think the cream on the inside of that donut is a little bit richer than a lot of Boston cream donuts that I've had elsewhere, so I wonder if they make their own filling in-house. The actual breading part of it, I noticed had a little bit of a different flavor than most other donuts that I've had. It tastes like it's really baked well, not, you know, fried. It's nice and light, a little bit too light for my taste, but it's still a nice light donut. I'm gonna give that one a 7 out of 10. Really fantastic chocolate frosting on top with a great cream in the middle. I love that. All right, now this is a spin. You can see this is a little bit lighter than most apple fritters. This is a nice spin on an apple fritter. It is a caramel apple fritter. I am totally excited to see what this is like. Yeah, the flavor on this guy is a little bit light on the apple, but it is heavy on the spice. Not too heavy, but you can taste like a little bit of a cinnamon taste almost. Now they didn't say anything about cinnamon being in this, so I find that kind of curious. Not a ton of caramel flavor either, but it's nice and sweet, has that great contrast of textures inside of it, where the middle is nice and fluffy, but the outside is a little bit crunchy. And you can see that the apples in it are really quite dark, so it almost has a little bit of a smoky flavor to it. Not too heavy either. Like, it's really, really nice. One of the best apple fritters I've ever had. So I'm gonna give that an 8 out of 10. Fantastic donut. So this was one that I thought sounded really interesting. It looks like it's just chocolate with chocolate frosting and shaved chocolate on top. But they called this the Aztec chocolate donut. And if you're familiar with Aztec or Mexican chocolate, it's chocolate with a little bit of spice added to it. Let's give it a shot. So you get that taste of like chili peppers on there, but almost no heat. just very mild spice on the back end. So if you're not a pepperhead, don't worry. That just little tweak of the chocolate flavor is so fantastic. Like, I've had Mexican chocolate or spiced chocolate before where the spice was just way too like wham bam, thank you ma'am, way too hard up front. That is not the case with this. Oh, that is so fantastic. I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. Wow, really great job, guys. I was a little bit skeptical, but you've made me a believer. Aztec chocolate donut. Next up is a banana cream Bismarck. Let's give it a shot. It looks like it's topped with maybe crumbled Nilla wafers, something like that. Nice stale Nilla wafer cookie on top, but that very delicious banana cream. That banana flavored frosting, very good. So I love that banana flavored frosting on top. The cream in the middle has a little mild taste of banana. Not super strong. It just kind of tastes like a regular Bavarian cream to me. But I gotta say, I'm not stoked about just banana and donut. I feel like banana by itself is a little bit bland, a little bit boring. Maybe it could have something else on top of it. So not my favorite. I think this one's a bit of a miss, especially with the cookies on top. Like I said, they're just stale. So I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10. Not my favorite one in there. Nice try, Frost, but I guess they can't all be zingers. Now this is peanut butter perfection. I don't think I need to explain what's going on here. Filled with a cream, I'm gonna love this. So the cream on the inside is very, very light. It's more like a whipped cream than a Bavarian cream. Just a hint of peanut flavor in that. Has those crumbled peanuts on top, and of course chocolate and peanut is another classic combination. So good, can't go wrong. And that one is not wrong. It is so delicious. And that whipped cream filling with a hint of peanut, so delicious. Oh man, I gotta give that one like an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. Really, really fantastic. Just knocked it out of the park with that one. All right, next up, let's go with a maple bar. So I think we all know what a maple bar is all about, and that one was exactly what you want in a maple bar. Nice fluffy donut with a nice maple flavored frosting on top. So it's a maple bar, it's a good one. I'm gonna give it a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. You know, we'll go with a 7.5 out of 10 because I really like maple bars. Next up is their chocolate bar, another standby that you see at every single donut shop. Let's give it a shot, make sure it holds up. Yep, another 6.5, 7 out of 10. It's a chocolate bar, a dang good one though. I know every donut shop in America has chocolate bars and maple bars. And which do you guys like better? Do you like the chocolate or do you like the maple? Personally, I'm a maple guy, but let me know what you think. Now these are becoming more popular. The bacon maple bar. A lot of times, donut shops that carry these have bacon that's a little bit too smoky for my flavor, a little bit too savory. But let's see how Frost does it. I gotta say, I think these guys do it better than any other bacon maple bar that I've ever tried. Where the bacon has a little bit of hickory smoked flavor, but it does taste like a donut with a little bit of bacon added to it. Not like bacon with a little bit of donut, you know? Because when I buy a donut, I want a sweet bready treat, not smoky, salty meat with a little bit of sweetness added onto it. So I'm gonna give this one a 7 out of 10. I think it's not quite as good as the maple by itself, but still probably the best bacon maple bar that I've ever had. Just a regular plain old-fashioned. I'm gonna see how it compares to most other old-fashioned donuts. Now, old-fashioned donuts, quote-unquote old-fashioned, I don't know where that name comes from. Those donuts are usually made with sour cream, and you can taste just a little bit of tang from that sour cream. Tastes really authentic. Very good. Very, very good old-fashioned donut. And an old-fashioned donut is one of my favorites, by the way. So I'm gonna give that one an 8 out of 10. Really fantastic. Next up, this is a white chocolate raspberry truffle. So it looks like white chocolate with some raspberry syrup on top. White chocolate raspberry, what a fantastic flavor combination. That rich, sweet white chocolate with just a little bit of tart from the raspberry syrup on top. Very creative. I'd definitely go for that again. You know, if I was in the mood to switch it up a little bit with just the plain old-fashioned. So I'm gonna give that one a 7 out of 10. Really, really good. And the last donut is their caramel. This is a salted caramel old-fashioned donut. Caramel on top is a little bit tacky. It is the perfect level of salt. Just a little bit of salt added into that, you know, sweet caramel. Not super overpowering. Man, they did a fantastic job with that. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. Really great job with the donuts frost. Now last up, they had these, which they called banana splits, which I thought just looked amazing. It's a bar donut with vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate frosting, 2 banana chips, and a cherry on top. I mean, just look at that guy. It is so pretty. That donut is so beautiful. I think this is a great way to start this donut feast. So I'm gonna get to it and eat the rest of these frost donuts. I'm looking forward to this. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize these are even cream filled. Wow. It has that banana cream in it, but combined with the whipped cream on top, that is so delicious. I'm gonna give this banana split an 8.5 out of 10, maybe even a 9 out of 10. This is over the top, super creative, guys. Wonderful. All right, let's get eating. bang up job for these guys. Standouts were definitely that Aztec donut and that banana split. That was so delicious. I've never seen anything like that in a donut shop before. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. And if you'd like to see more Q&As, if you want to get to know a little bit more about me, just let me know in the comments below. Or you can send me a tweet on Twitter. So until next time, you guys take it easy.